Well, hey, everyone. Welcome to Expert Media Show. This is your host and teacher, Tony Leidig, and this is session 8. Today, we're going to talk about time remapping your videos. And this is kind of a cool thing. I've been experimenting with it off and on for quite a while. And you might have seen the post that I made on Facebook the other day of a photo composition that I did for my granddaughter. An illustration. I do fantasy illustrations for my grandkiddos every year. And last year I recorded all of those. Well, 2018, I recorded my creation process because I offered it as a course. But they took and take anywhere from an hour and a half up to 6 hours. I mean, quite a long time. And so time remapping is essentially, we'll get into a definition here in a moment, but time remapping, tongue twister. Time remapping is essentially taking something that is one length of time in your video and making it shorter or longer. Okay, so taking 6 hours and compressing it into 4 minutes is a really good example. And so you've probably seen the videos on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, especially maker videos where they're making a project and they're working really fast. You'll see this often with painters, where they do a whole painting in 5 minutes, and in reality, it took them hours and hours. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Today's sponsor is, once again, the sponsor that we had last week, and that is CourseMaster Pro, CourseMasterPro.com. And this is a training that I'm actively teaching right now, and we're really getting into a lot of the different ways that you can create content for courses. Courses really make a lot of sense, and I'm redefining a lot of what creating a course actually means, because I believe everybody should have at least one that they've created. This week we're going to be talking about screen presentation and demo type videos, which of course we're kind of doing that right now. So anyway, let's talk about exactly what is time remapping. So time remapping is simply the process of adjusting or remapping the speed of a clip or video. By remapping your clip speed, you can speed it up or slow it down, either the entire clip or just parts of it. It's also referred to as speed ramping. And we're going to get into a demo here in a little bit where I'll show you the process. But first thing, I want to get into some of the tools that are available for us to actually do this. And believe it or not, it's actually easier than you might think. So it's perfect for how-to videos to compress hours of video into just a few minutes. And that's what I often do. But there's also times where you may want to go from something that's normal speed into slow-mo for a minute or a couple seconds, and then speed back up again. Tony says it's great for cooking demos. Yeah, absolutely. Most good video editing programs will allow this. And I decided to start off first talking about screen recorders, because in some cases, the demos you may do are actually on screen. Like if you're demonstrating software or how to design something, like I often do in Photoshop or one of those programs. So for on-screen demos, you're going to need to capture your screen. There's a lot of options available. I'm listing the ones that I use and that I have. Right now I'm using ScreenFlow. I'm using version 8. I haven't upgraded to 9 yet. It's a $39 upgrade. But the regular price is $129. And this is a Mac-only program. So if you're on a PC, you would probably want to choose another option. I like ScreenFlow. It's easy to use. I've gotten used to their workflow. It works extremely well. There's also TechSmith Camtasia 2019. It's significantly more expensive at $249. I don't know that that necessarily means it's better. I think it's just more expensive. I have Camtasia. I almost never use it. It does have some more bells and whistles in it, I guess, than ScreenFlow, but I don't know. Between the two, I definitely prefer ScreenFlow, but Camtasia is available for both PC and Mac, so there is that. And then the last one that I have is a Filmora screen made by Wondershare, and it's for 29 bucks. It's pretty robust. It really has all the bells and whistles you need and a built-in editor and all of that. It works extremely well. And so I would even recommend that. But you can see the price gamut is kind of all over the place. There's free options also. And you can, just a quick search on Google will, turn up some free options. I really don't use any free options myself just because I prefer the additional power and additional options that are available in the paid versions here. Tony asked, do older Camtasia do it? Do you know? None of these do speed ramping or remapping. These are primarily for recording video on your screen. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to use the latest version or anything like that. You can use any version to record your screen. There's a different film editor or video editor that we'll talk about later that, well, actually all of them do the film remapping, but we'll talk about, or time remapping, excuse me. It's such a tongue twister. I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying this. Time remapping, time remapping, time remapping. Okay, maybe I got it out of my system. All right. And Susanna asked, does Adobe have anything? Oddly enough, they really don't. You would think that they would have some kind of a screen recorder, but they've focused their energy in other directions. And it's not that they can't record a screen. I mean, you could do it in Premiere, but that's a bit overkill. So, I would really recommend using one of these. Okay. Now, along with this process, you're going to need some kind of a video editor. And there's a lot of different video editors that are out there. I'm going to share the 4 that I prefer, and you can pick one of the 4. Different price points, of course, but they all can do what we're talking about today. So the first one is Adobe Premiere Pro. It's part of the Creative Cloud suite. So, if you have Creative Cloud, 56 bucks a month or whatever it is these days, Premiere Pro is a part of that. And it's actually one of the most advanced for doing remapping and all the other related processes, speed ramps and those kinds of things. So you can actually, without having to cut the media or anything like that, you can speed it up, slow it down just with markers, and that's it. We're not going to get into Premiere Pro today just because it's a little bit more advanced, but it's definitely my top choice for all-around video editors. There's also Wondershare Filmora 9, which is what we're going to be demoing today. It's 59 bucks, and then they just came out with a Pro 2 version that's 149, and it's a very decent video editor. As a matter of fact, I think it's easier to use by a lot than Premiere Pro. It actually reminds me a lot of Sony Vegas or Sony Movie Studio, if you're familiar with that. I used to use that all the time, but it's PC only, and it's never occurred to them to make a Mac version, or maybe it's too hard, I don't know. But anyway, Filmora really reminds me a lot of Sony Movie Studio. Well, it's not Sony anymore. They sold it. But Movie Studio or Vegas, very similar to that. And then there's DaVinci Resolve from Blackmagic Design. They have a free version, which is incredibly robust, especially for free. It's kind of mind-blowing. And then their studio version adds a lot of other features that the average end user will never use. But $299, which is very inexpensive. Man, I remember when high-end video editors were like thousands and thousands of dollars. And so the fact that these are even under $300, and that includes Final Cut Pro X from Apple, $300, and you get the kind of quality in video editors that they literally use in Hollywood for movies and TV shows and all of that. A lot of folks use Adobe Premiere, but also Final Cut. And I mean, there's other video editors out there, but quite frankly, these are the ones that I would recommend focusing on. And then the last component for time remapping, before we get into a demo of it, is very often you want to have some kind of a background music. And, you know, whether you're doing a remapping video or you're creating a book trailer or shooting a video of yourself for YouTube or whatever, more times than not, you're going to want to have background music. And so there are tons and tons of options that are available to you. I'm going to share a couple of my favorites, the ones that I use primarily. Epidemic is my new favorite, and we're going to go look at their site here in just a moment. But then there's also Audio Blocks, which is part of the Storyblocks family, and I've used a lot of their clips at different times. Soundstripe is another site that I really like, as well as Audio Jungle. There's a lot more that I've used or tested or whatever over the years, like stockmusic.net and what's the other one? Jewel Beats is another one that I've used on occasion, but these are what I would consider the best, and especially Epidemic. This is an affiliate link, by the way. You can probably tell since it has my URL. But Epidemic is kind of cool because, well, I'll show you why. This is Epidemic, Epidemic Sound, and they have a lot of different types of music, genres, that kind of thing, as well as sound effects and all of that. It's very inexpensive. It's like, for a personal account, it's $15 a month, and you can use it on your YouTube videos and those kinds of things. But one of the things that I really like about it, you can see they have different genres, different moods. So if you're looking for a very specific type of music style, you can search by that. You can search by length, by beats per minute. It's very flexible. But one thing that they do that I thought was very curious, let's hit browse. So you can see, like, if there's a certain style of music that you want, like electronica or something like that, it will bring in the different songs and everything. And I haven't listened to any of these, or, well, one or two of them I guess I did, but a lot of them are, you know, they just are what they are. Like, the mood for this one is dreamy and euphoric. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. I mean, it's electronica. But what's really cool, you can see the waveform down here across the bottom, and then you'll see here where it says stems. This is what's super cool about this site, and I've never seen it anywhere else before. If you click on stems, you can literally break out different segments of the song. So, like, if I want to adjust the instrument, it'll just play the instrument. If I wanted just the bass, you can see that it's playing just the bass, or just the drums. And then if there's vocals or anything like that, you can pull out just the melody, which in this case there are no vocals, so the melody is just being played by a synth. Or you can do the full mix together. And so then whenever you go to download the song, you can choose to download the full mix or download all the stems. Now, what would be the purpose of downloading the stems? Easy. In some cases, you may just like the drum beat and nothing else. But it also, by them separating all the instruments out, it gives you the ability to do remixes. So you could literally smash together multiple songs and create your own remix or something like that for on your video or whatever, which is super cool, I think. But anyway, so that's one of the reasons why I like this. And the music is amazing. They have a couple different YouTube channels where they're constantly streaming, which is, I've been listening to a lot more lately just to kind of get a feel for the different styles of music that they have. I like epic cinematic type music. And so sometimes I'll just put that on while I'm working, you know, and then if I hear something that I really like, it'll show you what the clip is, and I just make a note of that. Then I can come back here to the site later on and download it. But I definitely like this site a lot. Okay, so let's go over to, what are we going to go to? Filmora. And I'll show you how this works. You'll be surprised at how easy this process is. So I already created a product or a project just to save us a little time. So you can see here, let me make this full screen. This is a demo that I did of creating the fantasy illustration for my granddaughter, Maya. And so if I hit play, I think what I'm going to do is just me talking, keep it in its non-flipped. And essentially all that I did was, you can right mouse click over here in the area where the media is. You can see media selected. Just hit right mouse click and choose import. And then you can import videos, you can import audio. You can see here design merge header MP4. So I could import any kind of media, whether it's video, audio, images, whatever the case may be. So you can see I have my audio clip here, which if I speed this up, I'm going to sound like crickets. Okay. And so we'll want to keep that in mind. But for now, it's at regular speed. And I think the overall length of the video, I'm not sure how long it is, honestly. It's like, scroll clear to the other end. So it's just over an hour and a half. So it's an hour and 36 minutes, give or take. Okay. Now, one thing that you may want to do, let's say that you want to use a specific song that you find, and you want to use that song, and then use the length of the song to adjust the timing of your video, which is one thing that I often do. So we could come over here. There's this one musician that I really like that goes by OOYY, Oi, or however you say it. And some really interesting electronica kind of music, like this one here. So it's just under 3 minutes. So 2 minutes and 56 seconds. So let's say I want to use this one. So I'm going to hit download. I just want the full mix. Okay. And then I'll switch back over here to Filmora and choose import. And here's the song. Okay, so we know that the song is 2 minutes and 56 seconds. So what we want to do is remap the time on this video from what it currently is, an hour and 36, down to 2 minutes and 56 seconds so that it fits the length of the song. Here's how we do it. I'm going to right mouse click on the clip, and you'll see where it says speed and duration. Click that. And now we can, you'll notice if I move the speed up, you can see the time is reducing. If I move the speed to the left, it increases. Okay. So I'm after getting it to, what, 2 minutes and 56 seconds. So we can drag it this way, or we can click here and it reduces it much less. So we can really, I'm just clicking in this area here and just dragging my mouse to the left or the right, holding the left mouse button down. So I can literally dial it right into exactly 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Okay. Click OK. And this little slider right here allows us to zoom in or out on our timeline. So you can see now we're right at 2 minutes and 56 seconds. And if we right mouse click, you see where it says show speed control. That's what this is right here. This is the speed control. So the time remapping value on this video is 32.81. So in other words, it's sped up by a factor of 32 to fit in the time frame that we want. Now, unfortunately, whenever you speed up the time, now all of a sudden, instead of me talking normally, I sound like crickets. And, well, that ain't good. That ain't going to work. And so one of the things that you'll want to do is right mouse click and choose detach audio. That will put the audio on its own layer, and then we can just select it and delete it because we don't need it anymore. We don't need the crickets. So now if I hit play, there is no sound. Okay. So the next thing that we can do then is take the song that we downloaded and drag that down here and plop it right into space. And you can see that it lines up pretty well overall. The song is slightly longer, so it must have been just over 3 minutes or 2 minutes and 56 seconds, but that's fine. So if we go back to the beginning, just go clear back to the beginning, and hit play. Now, I don't know if it'll play fully in real time just because I'm kind of asking a lot of my computer because we're recording and teaching live and doing this all at the same time. But we'll see what happens, see what we get. Yeah, so the video isn't playing very smoothly. Now, one thing that you can do, if you really want to get into this, is once you have the song imported, you can obviously edit this video clip if you want and time certain things to the music itself. Like you could get really detailed. It looked like it was changing different parts on the video itself based on the music, but that was just purely coincidence. So you can get very deliberate if you want to. Now, let's say that there's one part of the video that you actually want to slow down and show detail. Because right now everything is super fast. We can't really see it because of memory issues and all of that. Just kind of free up some memory. But you can see if we move along here. Okay, so it goes through the whole process. And then, but like I said, let's say that we want to speed up part of, or slow down part of it. So I'll show you how we can do that. what we want to do is get to the video section that we want. Like, let's say I want to slow down this section here of fixing her hand. We'll get to it here in a minute. Like, let's say I wanted to slow that down. So one thing that I can do is right mouse click on the video and choose split. Okay. And then move the playhead forward to where it's done. Right mouse click and choose split again. Now I'm going to move this section here out of the way, and then see where it says 32.81. I can hit the drop down and choose normal, and basically it will expand to whatever space is allowed. So in this case it didn't go clear down to normal, but it did slow it down to less than what it was, to 948. But understand that whenever you slow something down, it makes the length of the video longer. Okay, so you want to be aware of that from a music perspective. And I'll show you how to adjust or address that musically in just a moment. So now if we come back to, I don't know how much of this will actually show because of the lag time, but if I hit play, it's probably not gonna. I'm gonna let it play through it and go back and play through it again, which may build enough of a cache for us to see the difference. Okay. So let's see if that'll cache it better. Yeah, my computer's saying, oh no, you didn't. So anyway, you get the idea. So you can literally come in here and slow down or speed up just by, in this particular case in Filmora, by splitting the clips and then readjusting the time of the new clip segment. In Premiere Pro, you actually don't have to split the clips. You can put in section markers and change the speed using section markers, which also gives you the ability to ramp in and out of those speeds, which Filmora does not do. So you can you know how a transition works where you're like fading to black or something? You can fade the speed ramps, so to speak, in Premiere Pro so that it happens over time. Instead of just, we're at 32x and now we're at 9, you can have it transition from 32 to 9 over a period of, say, a half a second or something. So you can do that in Premiere, but you cannot do that here in Filmora. At least not that I've been able to discover. Now, one problem that we have here is that because we changed this, actually, let me move this out a little further. We'll hit normal, so it slows it down a little bit more, but you can see our problem now is that our song doesn't fit. Okay, so one thing that we can do is come into our song here, and in some cases doing this, it makes sense to kind of zoom in a little bit further. I'm going to hit split. Okay. And then I'm going to we'll move the clip to the end. So we have this amount of space right here. So the next thing that I want to do is find a section that we can maybe repeat. to fill up that section there. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that section right there. And I'm just guessing right now without actually listening. So let's play it. So I'm going to split, copy, that's pretty close. I don't know how it'll sound. We'll find out in a moment. Not bad. That one isn't so good. So we probably want to come in and adjust that one a little bit further, but you get the idea where you can mix and match the music lengthwise depending on how long or short your ending video ends up being if you're slowing down or speeding up certain parts of the clip. Okay. And that's it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So then let's say that we like it the way it is for whatever random reason. Then we just simply come up here and click export and choose the file format that we want. Typically MP4 makes a lot of sense. You can see the ending length duration is 3 minutes and 31 seconds. We'll call this Maya test, and I'm just going to save it to desktop, hit export. And so what it's doing is just rendering the movie, or the movie together with the music. And then whenever it's done converting and rendering it, we're good to go. We're ready to upload it to YouTube or wherever we plan on uploading it to, social media or whatever. So just with these simple little cuts and splits that we're making, and then adjusting the speed using speed and duration, there's a lot of really cool things that we can do with our videos beyond just real time. Okay. And of course, we're just using a screen capture video in this particular case, but we can just as easily use a regular recorded video, like Tony mentioned earlier about cooking. You know, if we wanted to speed up the process of cooking something, or maybe you're doing paint pours, or maybe you're making a table. I was looking at tables before we went live with live edge and then poured acrylic centers, like river tables. And they take time, but I've watched them be made using sped up videos. And so it doesn't really matter, like the video itself doesn't matter what it is. Okay. But if there's talking and you need to have the talking in there, then the speeding up process or the time remapping process isn't going to work so good, because everyone's going to sound like Alvin the Chipmunk or more crickets. So you want to keep that in mind. But if you don't need to have the regular speaking audio and you're just putting in background music, then this works perfectly. Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions? You can add transitions to the video, and absolutely. Like if you want it, just typical transitions here. Well, actually, I can't do it right now because we're rendering. Let me cancel the render. So like where these cuts are, if I come over here to transitions, I could add transitions into these, you know, so, and there's plenty of them here in Filmora, just as an example. I like simple transitions. I usually don't use a lot of the fancy things that we have access to. I like fade to black and stuff like that. and most of the time I just use simple cuts. But we do have all the various transitions here. Like here's a fade. So we can just simply click on that and drag it down in between the clips. Okay. And so if we come over here and hit play, it's not really going to show it well because, again, computer speed. But you can see how it's fading to black from this one clip and then fading into the other one. Okay, so that's all that you have to do is just pick whatever transition that you want to use and then just drag it onto where the clips meet up. Okay, just that simple. And also says, thank you, Tony. This was a very interesting episode today. You're welcome. Marjorie says, could you add a second audio clip of speaking at normal voice? Oh, yeah, absolutely. You just come up to media, import your audio clip, even if you wanted to use the same audio. Okay. So like I have the audio embedded here in the sound or in the video, the original. So I could, if I wanted to, bring the video down here again. And we just have, I'm going to detach the audio because we don't need this video again. So I'm going to delete that. And so if I wanted to have part of me talking here, the research for the images probably took me a solid 2 hours, if not more. And I didn't want to include that in the video because we had a lot of that in Lily's video number 3. So you can see, I don't know if you saw what I did there. See there's a horizontal line that goes across the audio. That's a volume control. Okay, so if I, you can see here where I just left mouse clicked and grabbed, and then as I move it down, it turns the volume down. Okay, so that the sound isn't overpowering my voice. We had a lot of that in Lily's video number 3. So yeah, you can stack video clips, you can stack audio clips, whatever you want to do. Chris says, this is very neat. Thank you. You're welcome. Ann says, I like the simple fade transitions too. Yeah, I mean, you can use the fancy stuff, but to me, it gets in the way more than anything. And if you look at professional videos, like even some of your higher end YouTubers and stuff, they once in a great while, they'll use a special transition for a specific reason, but most of the time they're just jump cuts, or fades. That's it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The subscribe button is right there. Please feel free to like this video on the replay. And if you want to get notifies of whenever I'm posting new videos, there's a little bell that you can click that will subscribe you basically to my notifies. And I'd appreciate it as well. So until next session, hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk again soon.